And again, I want to tell our Tennessee listeners, I've said this to many of my friends who have talked to me and because a lot of my friends, don't really like Notre Dame very well, and I can understand that. That's okay with me. But I tell them I like Tennessee, and I think it's good for college football for Tennessee to be a strong program. Tennessee has a tremendous amount of tradition, but I tell all of them, look, they're in probably the best. Well, probably, without a doubt, the best conference in America. You've got Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Auburn, LSU. I mean, you've got Texas A&M, who's in the top 10. I mean, you've got some teams in there that are just tremendous football teams. And when you have a team like Tennessee right now that has gone through 4 coaches in the last 10 years, have lost talent through transfers, have lost talent through suspensions or whatever, it's going to take a coach probably 5 or 6 years to really build that program, to be able to recruit and build that program to the level that they need it to be. And unfortunately, and I'm sure most fan bases are like this, when you start to lose, right away they want to look for the quick fix. And the quickest fix is what? Change the coach, right? Well, in the NFL, that works a little bit easier because you've got the same players the next year. They can't transfer or leave. So maybe a different coach can make a difference. But in college, when you change a coach, you're going to have guys leave the program. You're going to have a coach come in wanting to recruit his own guys. So that's going to create a little upheaval. I remember, I'll give them a story. When I got to Notre Dame, I was a freshman. Dan Devine was the head coach. That was his first year. Most of the team was Ara Parseghian players, and Ara Parseghian had a great run at Notre Dame, 2 national championships in 11 years. Dan Devine did not like the players from Ara Parseghian, and he alienated the team because the guys he brought in that first year, he was kind of leaning towards, and the ones that were there from Parseghian, he kind of tried to put in the back burner. That caused a little dissension on the team. The players were upset. We didn't play very well. So my point is that what's going to happen is, you struggle with that as well when a new coach comes in. So I say all that to say, you've got to give a coach time, and you may struggle right away. I mean, it may take 2, 3, 4 years before you start to see it turn around. But unfortunately, when you're bereft of talent like Tennessee is, it takes a while to build it back. So It's going to take some.
And that's a good point. Even if you bring in a new coach who is a better coach, it's going to create some turmoil, at least initially, just because you have a coaching change. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those reasons that you said. And then also, I think you're right about Tennessee's, been in the SEC pretty much forever, right? So I think they don't. Maybe I think a lot of fans don't really think of that. Like, imagine if Tennessee was one of these teams like Texas A&M that just came to the SEC a couple years ago. I think they would have a lot more kind of realistic expectations of what to expect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Being in the SEC. But I think it is important to take a step back and remember that, hey, we're in the absolute best conference in football, right?
Right.
Let's let's remember that. You know what I mean? So if Tennessee was in like the ACC or some of these other conferences, I think they'd be a lot better, obviously. So
sure.
I think that's important to remember. That's an excellent point.
Yeah. No, there's no question about that. And even if you brought Nick Saban into Tennessee right now, okay, let's remember when Nick Saban took over Alabama in 2007, he was 8-5 the first year, okay, and then of course in 2008 he was better, and then in 2009 they won the national championship. Now it took him 3 years, but Alabama had a lot of talent on that football team, okay, and if he came to Tennessee, I'm going to tell you right now, it would take him 3 years to turn it around. Now, he would turn it around quicker than probably some other coaches because of his pedigree and his resume, but it's not going to happen immediately because, first of all, there's no talent there. And second of all, little talent. He's got to recruit. He's got to build it up. So look at it. Even if you brought in a Nick Saban, you're looking at 3 years, and anybody less than a Nick Saban, you're probably looking at 4 or 5. So it's going to take a while.
Yeah, and the problem is they're obviously always getting people less than Nick Saban, and they're not giving them 4 or 5. So it's like, what are you really doing?
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, there's no question.